Origin of international relations. The earliest text on international relations was written by Thucydides, 430–406 BC. The Woodrow Wilson Chair of International Relations was established in 1919 at the University College of Wales, Aberystwyth, United Kingdom, and Alfred Zimmern was the first holder of this chair. C. H. Webster and E. H. Carr were among the early scholars of this discipline. The First World War had a deep impact on the development of this new subject in social sciences, as there was no teaching of the subject as such and very little conscious study. A few developments around the globe helped in the development of IR, such as the establishment of a School of Foreign Service at Georgetown University in 1919, USA, the Independent School of International Relations at the University of Southern California in 1924.
The Institute of Advanced International Studies in Paris, 1923, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace at Washington, D.C., 1910, the Union of Democratic Control in England, 1914, Foreign Policy Association and the Council on Foreign Relations in New York, 1918, Royal Institute of International Affairs in London, 1920, and the New Commonwealth Institute in London, 1934.
Now please refresh your memory. Who wrote the first textbook on international relations? Thucydides, Alfred Zimmern, H. Webster, H. Carr.
Thucydides' history confirmed the anarchical nature of the international system, in which there was a state of constant antagonism between Sparta and Athens. It developed that the cause of the Peloponnesian War was the Athens power buildup, which in turn led to Sparta's security dilemma. When was the Woodrow Wilson Chair of International Relations established? 1910, 1919, 1923, 1924. The Peloponnesian War was introduced with the establishment of the Woodrow Wilson Chair of International Relations in 1919 at the University College of Wales, Aberystwyth, United Kingdom. Alfred Zimmern was the first holder of this chair. C. K. Webster and E. H. Carr were among the early scholars of this discipline. This subject was offered in European and American universities from the 1920s, simultaneously at several other places. Who was the first holder of the chair of international relations? Woodrow Wilson, Alfred Zimmern, Thucydides, C. H. Webster. The Department of International Politics, the first of its kind in the world, is founded at the University College of Wales, Aberystwyth. The inaugural holder of the Woodrow Wilson Chair of International Politics is Alfred Zimmern.
Independent School of International Relations located, the London Academically, University of Southern California, Oxford University, Hebrew University, Jerusalem.
The University of Southern California School of International Relations is the third oldest school of international relations in the world.
In what year did international affairs help in the development of IR? Wales 1920, California 1920, Jerusalem 1920, London 1920.
In the early 1920s, the London School of Economics Department of International Relations was founded at the behest of Nobel Peace Prize winner Philip Noel Baker. This was the first institute to offer a wide range of degrees in the field.
Stages of development of international relations. The first stage can be termed as historical approach, where more emphasis was laid on historical analysis rather than on the political study of international events. However, this historical approach could not develop a theoretical core for the discipline.
The second stage can be labeled as contemporaneous stage, when more emphasis was laid on contemporary issues rather than on history. It emerged after the end of First World War. This approach totally neglected past, it was also partial.
The third stage began during the interwar period, when there occurred a paradigm shift from the historical and contemporaneous to a moralistic legalistic approach. Scholars emphasized a war-free world order and suggested creation of organizations like League of Nations. However, this approach was too idealistic and ignored the hard realities of international life. The fourth stage commenced after the end of the Second World War in 1945. Now there was a shift from merely praising or condemning different states' behavior but to discover the causes behind such behavior. The emphasis was now more on understanding. This shift in international relations in the fourth stage was the outcome of decolonization, emergence of new nation-states, rise of new universal values, demographic change etc. This shift gave birth to the realist school, which believed that power was a means, as well as end in itself. International politics was nothing but a struggle for power. Morgan too became its chief proponent. The fifth stage of international relations saw the emergence of the neoliberal school of thought, which stressed interdependence, security communities, transnational economic cooperation and creation of an international regime. This led to increased intervention by the US in third world countries, leading to North-South conflict and the establishment of a new international economic order, NIEO. Peace studies were also revived to focus on global stability, world order and control of global violence. The sixth stage of international relations saw the emergence of the New Cold War, which changed the whole scenario. Kenneth Waltz formulated the neorealist theory, which argued for managing and manipulating the New Cold War. The scholars of the United States and Britain showed interest in third world countries, but the Western theories of international relations were challenged by the scholars of the underdeveloped countries. The seventh stage began in 1985 with Mikhail Gorbachev's new political thinking, which recognized balance of interests in place of the balance of power, cooperation instead of confrontation, disarmament in place of armament, internationalization instead of nationalization and détente in place of Cold War. With the advent of this new political thinking, international relations entered into a new era, putting emphasis on peaceful coexistence and equal security for all. At first, the US is suspicious about these new moves, but later on, it responded positively to this new political thinking. During this period, since the realist and liberalist debate disappeared, the postmodernists came to fill the vacuum. Postmodernists or reflectivists argued that norms and regimes could not be studied in a positivist framework based on objectivity, but has to be analyzed as an intersubjective phenomenon. This new trend in the 1980s was known as post-positivism. It contained four major currents: critical theory, postmodern Marxism, postmodernism and postmodern feminism. The eighth stage of international relations began with the disintegration of the Soviet Union and the emergence of the US as the only superpower. Thomson analyzed how international relations developed from normative theory to causal theory, from idealism to realism, from realism to behavioralism and scientism, neoliberalism to radicalism, neorealism to post-positivism, and so on. Issues such as non-state actors, energy crisis, terrorism, globalization, the fear of Third World War, technological development, increasing role of transnational organizations, non-traditional security threats, the North-South debate, environmental degradation, rise of world oligarchy and world mass, nuclearization, expansion of weapons of mass destruction, etc., were overlooked in the study of international relations. Who illustrated a very comprehensive picture of different stages of international relations? Kenneth Thompson, Alfred Zimmer, Thucydides, C.H. Webster.
Kenneth W. Thompson, August 29, 1921 – February 2, 2013, was an American academic and author known for his contributions to normative theory in international relations.
What did Kenneth Thompson describe the first stage of international relations? Realist approach, contemporaneous approach, historical approach, neoliberal.
Historical method is the collection of techniques and guidelines that historians use to research and write histories of the past.
The second stage can be labeled as what? Realist approach, contemporaneous approach, historical approach, neoliberal.
The definition of contemporaneous is narrow, confined to this one sense. Contemporary is broader. Sometimes it means current or modern, and it's also a noun denoting a person who exists at the same time as another.
When did the fourth stage of international relations begin? After the end of 30-year War, after the end of First World War, after the end of Second World War.
The fourth stage in the evolution of the study of international relations began after the end of the Second World War. The deterioration in international situation which resulted into the outbreak of the Second World War amply proved the shortcomings of the approaches of interwar period.
What was the third stage of international relations? Realist approach, moralistic legalistic, contemporaneous approach, historical approach.
Legalism is the morality of filtering through positive law all claims to official justification.
What was the name of the organization that was suggested by scholars as a war-free world order? United Nations, Security Council, League of Nations, NATO.
The League of Nations, 1920 to 1946, was the first intergovernmental organization established to promote international cooperation and to achieve international peace and security. It is often referred to as the predecessor of the United Nations.
What was the emphasis now on in the fourth stage of international relations? Understanding, contemporaneous, historical, neoliberal.
The fourth stage commenced after the end of the Second World War in 1945. Now there was a shift from merely praising or condemning different states' behavior but to discover the causes behind such behavior. The emphasis was now more on understanding,